When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Blog Talk Radio.
Writing your book is the easy part. Promoting your book so readers can find and purchase it is the hard part. Welcome to the Author Chat Show, hosted by author-publisher Lynda D. Brown. Follow us at www.facebook.com/authorchat. And to contact the show to promote your book, contact me at theauthorchatshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned and listen to today's show.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Author Chat Show. I'm your host, Lynda D. Brown. My guest today is author Drew Bankston. Drew is stopping by the Author Chat Show to chat with me about his book, Tears of the Silent Crow. This is Drew's first time on the Author Chat Show, and we'll be right back to chat with him about his book after a word from today's sponsor.
PrimeStar Publicity and Public Relations is a full-service firm ready to fill the needs of their clients. Owner Helen Cook has more than 32 years of publicity, public relations, advertising, and marketing experience, and she focuses her professional talents on working with her clients' strengths to create customized, strategic campaigns, whether their needs are great or small. Radio, TV, print, internet, publicity, marketing, creating a social media presence, branding, client positioning, author tours, speaking events. These are just some of the services PrimeStar provides for their clients. For a complete list of services and other information about the company, please visit our website, www.primestarpublicity.com, or email Helen at helen.cook@primestarpublicity.com, or phone 903-654-0938. PrimeStar's home office is located in the Houston, Texas area.
All right, welcome back to the show. For those of you just tuning in, my guest today is author Drew Bankston. This is Drew's first appearance on the Author Chat Show, and he's stopping by to chat with us about his book, Tears of the Silent Crow. Drew, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Lynda. I appreciate you having me on here.
We appreciate you coming on the show. This is your first time on our show, so we always like to get started with you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Oh gosh, a little bit. I've been around for a long time, so trying to compress it into a little bit, that's going to be the fun part here.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in northern Colorado, here in Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm a husband and a father and a full-time videographer and video editor. When I'm not doing that, though, when I'm not doing that, though, I am writing books, and so, as you said, Tears of the Silent Crow is one of my newest ones.
Yes, it is, and very prolific author. Looks like you currently have, a total of 8 out now?
Actually, I've got 10 out, and my 11th is about to come out here this next month.
Awesome, awesome. Drew, how long have you been writing?
Well, I started writing when I was in second grade. So a very, very, very long time. I think dinosaurs were still roaming the earth at that time. So, but I started writing in second grade, and it was actually one of my teachers said we needed to write a play. Well, I wanted to do an audio play, which back then wasn't heard of. And so she sent me into another room with a tape recorder, and I did sound effects, and I wrote a story and narrated it, and then brought it out and played it for the class. And it was such a big success that I was hooked on writing.
Yes. It's just that easy, isn't it? Absolutely. Wow. Well, Drew, I tell you, I love this book cover, Tears of the Silent Crow. Just an amazing cover. How did you come up with this book cover and also your title?
Well, now the book cover, I need to credit my wife, Christy. She is a graphic designer, and she does all of my book covers. And when I do videography and put out DVDs, she also does the covers to the DVDs. So she is she's amazing, an amazing graphic designer. And I found the feather, actually, when I was looking through some photos. And I said, let's make this just the centerpiece of the cover. And she said, okay. And she said, what kind of a cover do you want? And I said, well, it's kind of a romantic mystery that we're looking at. And I said, maybe kind of an old Ian Fleming, James Bond type of cover, something reminiscent of that. And she did her research, and within 24 hours, she sent this to me via email. And she said, what do you think of it? And I said, that is perfect, absolutely perfect.
She did a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
And you said absolutely. And you said she did all of your covers, because all of your covers are amazing.
Yes, she did. She did every one of my covers, and like I said, she is an amazing designer. She's got an eye for it like nobody else. I always admire her because I can look through a video camera and I can capture events, but she can look at something and capture a moment. And that's not something I can do. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, see, that's probably just like you can look at something and create a story right in your mind, and she probably doesn't have the ability to do that. And that is something that we as authors we kind of do, don't we?
Yeah, that's exactly right. In fact, I go for a walk every morning because I love going out and seeing the sunrise and watching the clouds and the sky and everything. And I look at different things and come up with stories, or I'll find a picture and I'll write a story around the picture, just to kind of keep sharp on that. And it's
exactly.
It's a wonderful talent to be blessed with.
Yes. And you're right, it is a talent, and it's something that we really shouldn't take lightly. And with the explosion of indie publishing, basically since 2009, 2010, this is just a wonderful time to get that book out there that you've always dreamed of writing. It's a lot of resources out there that can assist you with writing your book. Now, Drew, with that being said, did you use a traditional publisher or did you use an indie publisher?
I did go through indie publishing. In fact, I used my video production company, which is called Star Painter Productions, and we turned that into a print publisher as well. So that's, if you look on the inside of the book, it says published by Star Painter Productions. That's actually me. So, but
absolutely.
But you have to have an imprint, which is kind of interesting because when you go to Bowker and you get your ISBN, they ask you, who's your publisher, what's the imprint. So, and I imagine a lot of self-published individuals will just use their own names, but I've seen some pretty creative ones too.
Yes, I was actually able to be mentored briefly by the world-renowned Dan Poynter, very, very prolific indie/self-published author. His passion was for parachuting and parasailing. And we ended up, he is fantastic. One of the things that he had mentioned to me, Drew, was to make sure that, let's see, I just kind of lost my train of thought. Bear with me. You mentioned that age thing. Yeah, you're singing to the choir here, hon. But one of the things, that he mentioned was, was to make sure that you, he said, Lynda, don't use your own name. Come up with a name for your publishing company. Go ahead and actually start your own publishing company. And that's exactly what I did. So that's why I brought all that up. Right. Yeah, so you did a great job. Now, Drew, tell us how you came up with the title of your book.
Well, now that's interesting too, because typically when I'm writing a book, the title just hits me. It's just right there. This one was a little bit different. I actually came up with a concept first and kind of outlined the way the book was going to go, but I couldn't figure out the perfect title. It just didn't make sense. And I think I came up with 3 or 4 different titles, and please don't ask me what they were because I have no idea. This one just overshadowed all the other ones. But I thought, okay, we've got to come up with something that is catchy. And as the story developed, the title actually came out. So I thought, crows don't cry. Well, they caw, but they don't cry. And a silent crow is kind of ominous. In fact, we've got there was a whole bunch of crows out here where I live today. And I'll tell you, and they were in the trees, and they were just loud and noisy and obnoxious. And I kept thinking, you guys are going to be silent crows here pretty soon if you don't quit. But But that's how it came about. Was I wanted to have something that was a little bit contradictive to itself. So Tears of a Silent Crow, it's intriguing. I think it reflects the fact that this is a mystery. And then you look at the rest of the cover, and you can see that there's a little bit of romance involved in it too. So.
Great. And that leads us right into my next question. You have a very, very interesting couple in this book. They are the main characters. Tell us about your main characters, the Winslows.
Okay. Well, Gary and Stacy Winslow. I like to think of them as being the perfect couple. And now I don't know if this perfect couple exists, but maybe just in my mind. But they are the perfect couple. And Gary is, he's a computer programmer, so he has a very logical mind. He likes to stay indoors. He's not very athletic. He doesn't like to get out. He's not even an armchair quarterback, you might say.
Right.
He just likes to stay at home and be himself. He just likes being. He's very introverted. Stacy, on the other hand, is the complete opposite and complement of him. She loves to get out and play sports. She's very outgoing. One of her jobs at one point, I think in this first book, she's a bartender. And being a bartender, you've got to get out there and you've got to talk to people and you've got to relate to people. And she's on the bar's softball team. So she gets out there and she loves to hike and she loves to run and she just loves to do all sorts of things. But the biggest attraction between these two, they complement each other in all these other ways, but they are very, very romantically involved and very, very dedicated to each other. And that's something that it's hard to find these days. Now, my wife and I have been married for 26 years this month, and I kind of feel that subconsciously I was basing the characters of Gary and Stacy on the relationship that I have. Now, not
exactly.
totally. I don't want people to read it and go, "Wow, this is well, look what
right."
But it's we'll say it's loosely based on on the relationship.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Drew. We tend to write about what we know. That's what makes it a little bit more realistic, I believe.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Okay. All right. So tell us about the book. What inspired you to write Tears of the Silent Crow? Tell us about the book.
Well, I love writing series novels, and of course, with a series, you have to have either a reoccurring theme or characters, or something along those lines. And so, I had actually written the second book, which I know you wanted to mention here down the road, the Compass Society. The Compass Society, I actually wrote that first, but
okay.
I wanted to go back, and I hadn't published the Compass Society, but I wanted to go back because I thought, there needs to be something that explains who Gary and Stacy are and what they do. And so I came up with Tears of the Silent Crow. And in this book, as it first starts, Gary and Stacy are just engaged to be married. And so we go through the first 2 weeks leading up to their wedding, where we find out a little bit more about them. This is where the character development comes to play. And so we learn the strengths and weaknesses of both of them. We learn what makes them attracted to each other. We learn that they are very dedicated to each other through different things that happen. We find out that Stacy is, and I'm sure everybody knows at least one person like this. Stacy is the type of woman who can walk down the street, and it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, you notice her.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. You known someone like that?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah. It's probably you, isn't it? you walk down the street. Yeah. Well,
maybe in my younger days, Drew.
I don't know. I don't think you ever really lose this. But it's the type of person who walks down the street and they hold their head high and they walk with this certain air of confidence, not arrogance, but confidence, and you can feel that person can do anything they set their mind to.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is what you find out about Stacy, and you find out that Gary, well, he's very intelligent. He's a good problem solver. He's like a lot of guys. If a problem comes up, he wants to solve it immediately. But he has learned that you don't do that with Stacy.
Thank
Stacy
you.
likes to.
Women, period. Thank you.
Stacy will see a problem, and she needs to let it ruminate. She needs to find out what's going on with it. And and I think this comes from my type of relationship, is that if I see something that's like, well, what about this? Let's try this. Why don't I try it? And my wife will look at me and say, why don't you just give it a second?
Right.
And she'll sit there and what the funny thing is, I can come up with 5 different solutions in 30 seconds. And she might go for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, just really thinking about it. And she'll say, let's do this. And it's the perfect solution.
Exactly.
So guys tend to be a little impetuous as far as trying to help and to fix things, where I think women actually take the time to figure out what it really needs. So that's what we see in this relationship over the first 2 weeks. And we see this mystery beginning to evolve. There's somebody invades their privacy. Somebody breaks into their house, and they're leaving little things in the house, little crow feathers. And they can't figure out who's doing this. Why is this happening? And then they get married. They're getting ready to go on a very inexpensive honeymoon when somebody at Gary's office gives them an envelope, a mysterious envelope, with tickets to Hawaii.
Wow.
And all expense paid stay at one of the best hotels on Oahu. Well, he has no idea who it is. He thinks the entire office went in on it, and nobody's claiming responsibility. But they go to Hawaii, and while they're there, this big mystery evolves. They're given clues through notes from their benefactor, who they don't know who that is. At one point, Gary starts getting very sick, and they're told that since they're not pursuing this mystery fast enough, Gary has been poisoned. And if they want the antidote, if they want the antidote, they need to follow the clues and they need to solve the mystery. And it's the mystery of the Silent Crow. So that gives you a little bit of insight into what the story is. Now, of course, I can't give you the ending because I don't do spoilers. Sorry.
Not a problem. But I tell you, you have my Agatha Christie antennas just tingling here, Drew. That sounds like something right out of an Agatha Christie book. Well, listen, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Drew is going to read an excerpt from his book, Tears of the Silent Crow. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
PrimeStar Publicity and Public Relations is a full-service firm ready to fill the needs of their clients. Owner Helen Cook has more than 32 years of publicity, public relations, advertising, and marketing experience, and she focuses her professional talents on working with her clients' strengths to create customized, strategic campaigns, whether their needs are great or small. Radio, TV, print, internet, publicity, marketing, creating a social media presence, branding, client positioning, author tours, speaking events. These are just some of the services PrimeStar provides for their clients. For a complete list of services and other information about the company, please visit our website, www.primestarpublicity.com, or email Helen at helen.cook@primestarpublicity.com, or phone 903-654-0938. PrimeStar's home office is located in the Houston, Texas area.
All right. We are back with author Drew Bankston, and Drew is about to read an excerpt from his book, Tears of the Silent Crow. Drew, what page and what chapter will you be reading from?
Well, I think I'm going to start just right at the beginning, page 1, chapter 1, and I'll let you. It's actually chapter 1 is about 7 pages long, so I will let you just jump in. If you want me to read the entire chapter, I don't have an issue with that. But if I start to go too long, because I know you have time constraints, just holler at me and say, "Stop! We need to." Okay.
Not a problem. I will keep my eye on the clock if you go ahead and get started.
Okay, here we go. So chapter 1, Tears of the Silent Crow. Stacy ran. Her T-shirt was wet with sweat and clung to her body, showing off her muscular and yet very feminine build. She saw Gary on the side of the road and changed her path to intercept him. When Gary heard the footsteps, he looked up and smiled, but his smile quickly faded into a scowl as he watched Stacy approach. He had no idea that the expression on his face mirrored the expression worn by his fiancée. Stacy's hair, normally a golden blonde, was dark with sweat and stray strands stuck to her face. She stopped just short of running through Gary, bent over and placed her hands on her thighs. She gasped for breath and then stood straight, looking Gary in the eye. Between breaths, she managed to say, "Gary, you've got to help me." Gary wasn't certain what to do. He wasn't sure what she needed. He ran his fingers through his short, dark hair and then reached for the woman of his dreams. "Don't touch me," she snapped, taking a step back. "I'm all sweaty." "What do you need me to do?" Gary asked, concerned. "Come stand next to me. They're calling the race a tie between me and Lynda Collinsworth," she said, rolling her neck and shaking her hands. "Can you believe that? They're looking at the video now to see who actually won, as if there should be any doubt." Gary smiled and placed his hand on Stacy's shoulders. "I'm sure you did really well," he said. "I did better than really well," Stacy said, shrugging her shoulders from under Gary's hands. "I won. I know I did. Come on, let's get over to the judge's stand." Stacy grabbed Gary's hand and started off at a slow sprint toward the other side of the field. Gary struggled to keep up. Gary had never been much of an athlete except on certain occasions in his living room in front of the TV. Stacy, on the other hand, loved to be a sports participant. She would play for local baseball, soccer, and football teams whenever she had the chance. As a bartender at Phil's Bar, she had ample opportunity to find out about various events which she could participate, including things like the 5K run that she had just finished. The fact that she was so highly competitive was one of the things that attracted Gary to her from the start. Even back in third grade when they first met, Stacy was competitive, not only in sports, but with grades, art, music, and anything else where awards or high praise might be given. As Gary recalled, it was her father that pushed her to be the best at everything, and as Gary had grown up with her, it was a trait that he grew to admire in her. Stacy grumbled about how slow Gary was, and half whispered an order to hurry up, but she realized that it was more directed toward her own sense of wanting to know the outcome of the race than it was for her lover to run faster. So she slowed her pace slightly and offered Gary the opportunity to feel a little better about being able to jog successfully next to her. She loved this man intensely and would do anything for him, and she knew he felt the same way about her. In a few moments, they arrived at the judge's stand. An out-of-breath Gary stood proudly by Stacy. Although he tried hard not to show his increased need for oxygen, Stacy could tell that the long, slow breaths weren't quite enough to keep Gary conscious, and not wanting him to collapse, she feigned a yawn, causing Gary to unconsciously do the same and keep him from collapsing to the ground. A young, thin woman in running shorts and sweatshirt with cut-off sleeves walked over to the judge's stand and stood by Stacy, close enough to be noticed but far enough away not to be intrusive. Stacy looked over at the woman. "Lynda," she said cordially. "Stacy," Lynda returned the acknowledgement. The head judge stood and walked to the microphone. He tapped it to see if it was on, creating an instant wave of feedback, which grew in intensity briefly and then faded away as the judge stepped back with a surprised look. He smiled at the crowd, embarrassed at drawing so much attention, and then carefully reapproached the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," the judge began, "after reviewing the video of the contestants crossing the finish line numerous times, we have come to the decision that both runners crossed the finish line at the exact same time. We therefore declare two winners of today's race. Congratulations, ladies." Gary was a little afraid. He didn't know whether to tell Stacy congratulations or give condolences. He waited to get a cue from her behavior. He was still holding her hand, but received no indication of her mood from that. Then he felt her shrug. She turned toward Lynda and said, "Good job. I'll just have to start working a little harder for our next race together." Lynda stuck out her hand. "Good job, Stacy. It's going to be hard for me to keep up with you next time, but at least I have someone that keeps me on my toes. Will you be at the cancer run in 2 weeks?" "Already signed up," Stacy said excitedly. "Me too. I'll see you there. Maybe we could run as a team." "Great idea," Stacy said. She let go of Gary's hand and gave Lynda a hug. "See you in 2 weeks." Gary watched Lynda walk off. He never understood how Stacy's mind worked. The impression that he had only moments ago was that of a fierce competitor who wanted to crush the life out of her component. Now he saw her and that so-called opponent as best friends. Stacy took Gary's hand and said, "Come help me stretch, then let's head home. I need a shower and might need someone to scrub my back." Gary loved how Stacy would bite the right side of... Are we ready to stop?
Okay. Yes, let me stop you right there. We just got the 90-minute, 90-second warning from our little referee there, as I call her. First of all, Drew, you did a fantastic job creating your characters. The dialogue is awesome. Here's one thing I have to bring out. I just want to hear a man admit, and I love that you actually have the book. I think you know where I'm going to go, right? Isn't it amazing that we love the men that love strong, feisty women? Because you're right, I definitely fit that mold, even being extremely close to 60. But isn't there just a tiny part of you that's a little afraid of women like that, just like poor Gary was when the judge announced that the race was a tie?
Well, there is that portion, yes. Not wanting to be wrong, and liking my head to stay on top of my shoulders and not be bitten off at any moment. There are times when I look and I think, what is the correct thing to say? And I'll tell you, over the past many years I've been alive, the correct thing to say is nothing.
Exactly. We appreciate that, the fact that you actually understand that, Drew. Well, Drew, listen, sweetie, believe it or not, our time is up. Again, for my listening audience, the title of the book is Tears of the Silent Crow, and the author, again, is Drew, and he spells his first name D-R-E-W, last name is Bankston, B-A-N-K as in Kevin, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, O as in Oscar, N as in Nancy. Currently, the book is available in two formats. Is that correct, Drew? The Kindle and the paperback? Do we have it available in any other ebook formats like the Nook?
It's available as Nook and Kobo.
Oh, Kobo.
The Kobo
awesome.
readers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Currently, the Kindle is $2.99 on Amazon, and the paperback is $9.95. Very quickly, Gary, can you tell us, are there any events coming up that you'd like to share with our listening audience?
In 2 weeks, I'm going to be at Mile High Con here in Denver. The week after that, I will be at the Loveland Library selling books and doing some signings. And after that, I'll be at Mile High Con also in Denver. And Rocky Mountain Con in Denver. And beyond that, just check my website, www.drewbankston.com, and you can see where I'll be.
That sounds great. And you actually just answered my last question, which is how can we contact you online? And so once again, give us that website.
www.drewbankston.com.
Wonderful. We will post all of this information on our Author Chat Facebook fan page. Drew, any last words before we let you go?
Just thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, this has been such a great interview, Drew. I have had a great time chatting with you. I'd like to have you come back on the show and talk about the Compass Society as well, because that's actually book 2 with your characters, Gary and Stacy. Is that correct?
Exactly, yep.
Awesome. All of my authors that come on the Author Chat show, their second interview, especially if they have a follow-up or a sequel coming out, we always have them come on, and that's on the house. So I'll send you, I'll get together with you sometime next week and send you some dates to look at. But Gary, I'm sorry, Drew, look, I'm calling you by your character. Drew, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing information about yourself and also about your book.
Oh, thank you, Lynda. I really appreciate it.
Well, we definitely look forward to having you come back on the show again, okay?
I'm looking forward to it as myself. Thank you.
Sounds good. Tell that wonderful wife of yours I said hi and to keep you in line.
All right. She'd take nothing less.
I can imagine. Listen, sweetheart, get out there and enjoy the rest of your Saturday, okay? Bye-bye.
I sure will. Thanks, and you too.
Bye-bye. Okay,
Bye-bye.
so that was author Drew Bankston. And again, the title of his book is Tears of the Silent Crow. Again, the book is available on Amazon, as he mentioned, the Nook, Kobo for the ebook. You can also get it in paperback. Paperback is currently $9.95. If you go to your local bookstore and you're requesting a copy of this book, if you can't find it physically in the bookstore, just go right up to the cashier's desk and tell them that you'd like to order a book, and they'll order it for you. Feel free to go right to Amazon.com and get the ISBN number. That is the number that all books have that identifies the book at the different stores and outlets. So again, the title of the book, Tears of the Silent Crow, Gary and Stacy Winslow Mysteries, Book 1. The author is Drew Bankston. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll catch you guys right back here tomorrow for the Sunday edition of the Arthur Chat Show. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Bye-bye.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar!
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
Jimmy John's, America's #1 sandwich delivery, fast Ed speaking. I'm on my way.
I'm in the backyard here, Ed. Wow, you are fast.
Yes, sir. Freaky fast and freaky good. But I gotta say, I've never delivered to a dude in a doghouse.
Well, I'm definitely in the doghouse.
I thought in the doghouse was just an expression, a figure of speech.
Well, the doghouse is a very real place.
How long are you condemned to your canine quarters?
Too soon to tell, but on the bright
The
side.
doghouse has a bright side.
Yeah, the wife can't throw a lamp this far.
I guess she's been working out.
Order Jimmy John's sandwich delivery today. Jimmy John's. Freaky fast. Freaky fresh.